Hey, everybody at MD, Bob Chick, along with David Baye. We are here in Chicago at the 2014 Junior National Championships, Day 2, David. You were down in the pit all morning long, but they got everything split up over 2 days, so real nice format. Nice change, a little break for the judges, break for you guys. Yeah, I mean, for us in general. Bodybuilding, obviously, this morning. Yesterday was kind of ladies' day, and then today the men took the stage this morning. How'd it look?
Well, usually when we talk about the lighter classes here at the shows, we see, top-notch conditioning.
Top notch.
Top-notch. And being that it's a junior-level show, we'll see some of the guys more impressive in the lighter classes. I really don't have a lot of comments for bantams through middleweights. There wasn't.
Moving on.
There just wasn't a lot of guys that really jumped out. A lot of guys who looked like good local level. Sure. Bantams through middles, but nobody that jumped out like, hey, this guy's going to be a contender for a pro card at the next level. So, and when we jump into the light heavyweight class, we started to get some good quality. Like, we see so many shows where as we get heavier, the quality of the conditioning and
Sure.
that goes down. It's kind of the opposite here. There's 3 light heavyweights that stood out to me. We had Charles Griffith, which I think is the clear winner of the class. I have no idea how he made it down to light heavyweight. He certainly did not look like...
That's a muscle.
Yeah, he was just huge. So he should be the clear winner in that class. Brad Dingle, competitor 464, huge legs, really good back. Just wasn't quite as sharp as he needed to be. And then another competitor from South Dakota, Kyle Kubicek. He looked really, really sharp. Not quite as pretty of a physique as the other two, but really grainy for a light heavyweight class. So he should be pushing for that top 5 spot. Probably.
Who's your pick in the light heavies then?
Charles Griffith.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right. Dave Stradamus.
Dave Stradamus. As far as the heavyweights, some good quality competitors in the heavyweights. You guys on Muscular Development might have seen Nick Zaharis, one of Shelby Starnes' guys.
Oh, that's right.
A lot of pictures of Nick leading up to the show looked really dry and grainy. Didn't really produce that on stage. So he was still in really good shape, but that graininess and everything we saw leading up to it, it just goes to prove the pictures you see on the internet don't.
Never tell the whole story, and it only counts on game day here. You know what? Prejudging is everything, David, as you know, and especially in the amateurs, they don't really get a second look at night. I mean, they can, and the judges have on occasion, but it's very rare. Something extraordinary has to happen for the judges to give the hold up sign, and we're going to kind of relook at him. So you kind of got to have that window of opportunity, and it's a very small one.
Yeah, this isn't the pros. I mean, it's pretty much done. They're not going to do confirmation rounds tonight, and they're not going to rescore it. So what's done is done. Some other really good guys in the light heavyweight class. Jamin Ackman, who we interviewed the other night, one of Justin Compton's guys, probably the best conditioned guy in the class, maybe the best conditioned guy in the whole show. Doesn't quite have the lines of some of the other guys in the heavyweight, but he looked really good. We had a big, I think it was Lithuanian, Algirdas Kilkauskas.
Sounds like I'll be having some fun with that one tonight.
Yeah, he actually just won the overall at a big show in Wisconsin a few weeks ago. Older dude, but huge, really dry and grainy look. Dorian Haywood, who I think I've seen here before at the show, definitely his best showing here. Really good lines. He got moved to the center after a little while. Good conditioning, good lines. Just not the biggest, not the grainiest, but just the best kind of balance of everything.
Seems like the name Dorian and grainy always go hand in hand, so you got kind of a tough one to live up to there.
Yeah, and then the big story in the heavyweights is Tay Raines. Now, when we look at, we talk about potential coming into this show and whether this show is going to springboard people. I think when you guys see pictures of Tay Raines, you're going to agree that this guy has the potential to do something big. Now, he's not as sharp as he needs to be today, and I don't even know if he's quite as good as some of the other competitors when you add in all the things that the judges are looking for. But as far as potential and just kind of an overall package, he's absolutely incredible. I thought it was a good showing for him, despite not being as sharp as he needed to be. And I think you'll probably see big things from him in the near future.
Well, David, the knock on the supers has always been, at least over the last few years, not as sharp. A lot of guys should have gone down the heavyweights, not that deep. Not the case here.
No, we had some really good super heavyweights, and it seemed like it was either a combination of aesthetics in shape and things like that, or like just grainy conditioning and mass. We had a couple guys. We had Sergio Oliva Jr., not the sharpest, huge legs, good shape. DeCarlo Lewis, good shape. We had another gentleman, one of Don Long's guys, Corey Calliot, another big guy, wasn't quite as sharp as he needed to be, but structurally he was fantastic. Then we had 2 guys, Jonas Giatras and Russ Allen, who were just big, grainy, super heavyweights, the kind of conditioning that is lacking at some of these junior shows, and so it was a tough super heavyweight class, which is nice to see. Like you said, you come here and usually the supers they're a disappointment, but it's going to be interesting to see how the judges go with it, because like I said, the guys who were bigger and grainier didn't quite have the shape, but that sure's got to count for something.
Well, I was watching the supers, and it looked Sergio Oliva Jr. was here a couple years back. Actually, I remember interviewing him at that point. It looks like he came back. He put on a little size. I think he had a little bit of a leg injury there for a year. Got that fixed up. He got back into the training, came back. He's definitely made some improvements. It looks like they gave him the consideration of being a top contender coming in, but I'm not so sure he's ended up in the winner's circle. The guy next to him that they put in there, I think might have been taking an edge on him.
Yeah, they moved some guys around quite a bit, and then, like I said, two of the guys, this Jonas Giatras, who I think they flip-flopped with him, in Russ Allen, those were two of the guys again who were just in really good conditioning, ended up working their way towards the center. Again, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Usually at most bodybuilding shows, the guys who are in the middle are always going to be perennial favorites for first place and stuff like that. But sometimes at the shows like this, they get the guy in first place. They've decided he takes first, and they move him off to the side because they actually want to flip-flop some guys. So it'll be interesting to see. I would think by what we normally see that means Sergio dropped a few places, but it's hard to say.
Well, and obviously, like I say, if anything is that close, they can take a look. The judges actually reserve that opinion for the night show finals. Obviously, tonight, final starting at 6 p.m., and we'll see the conclusion of that. You never know. I mean, anything can obviously happen, and we'll see who makes their way into the winner's circle here. As we talked about yesterday, very important show. Obviously, this can springboard somebody. And speaking of Men's Day here, because like I say, it was Ladies' Day yesterday, David, it was men's physique taking the stage. Now, you, sir, are no expert when it comes to board shorts, so you're out of here. This man, however, Jason Poston, is an expert, IFBB pro. How you doing, Jay?
Doing well.
Don't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging. Well, you were down there in the pit. You watched it, Junior National Championships. Now, you were on this very stage just a few years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago today, I was here in the Windy City and placed 8th. And, at the time, I was very happy with that because this is when physique was, like, booming.
Right.
And there was, I think, there was like 120, 130 guys here at that time. There still is a lot of guys here, and I liked what I saw today. There was a lot of very, just lean, shredded guys. I think the posing still needed work today, and it just goes to show that, all these seminars that the promoters are putting on, all the head judges in the states that I see going on, be sure to go to that, guys, because even though you look the part, I felt like the guys were shredded. They look like the mini bodybuilders. They look like the Olympians of last year. And but I still feel like they could work on the posing today.
Presentation, obviously, and attention to detail can make the difference. And I think you're proof positive. I mean, you were, again, 8th place, so you weren't even in the top 5 just a couple years ago. So I think you're a perfect example of somebody, when you talk about the juniors and you talk about people that got to win or whatever, that you don't necessarily have to take first. It's just getting your foot in the door, making the appropriate changes. Next thing you know, you had a pro card. Next thing you know, you're winning a pro show, and you're off to the Olympia this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I hate to put myself as an example, but yeah, I mean, I'll go with you there, Bob. I finished 8th. I was happy. And then the next month, I ended up getting my pro card at USA's. And then the next year, they awarded us Olympic qualifications, and, I got there with points. So, yeah, if you just stay dedicated, work hard, work on your posing, because it's the same thing here, Bob.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what was the difference? I mean, obviously 8th wasn't, in the dumps, obviously, but respectable, but again, not in the top 5. But then you got your pro card right at the USA. So, I mean, what was the major change you made? Was it physical? Was it training-wise? Or was it presentation, or a little combination of everything?
If I pulled up pictures right now, I think you'd agree with me that my posing was just god-awful here. So, at the time, they had the criteria, but I don't think a lot of us guys were listening to what they wanted. It took, 2 national shows for me, some guys more, some guys less. But my posing was just god-awful. I looked at my back and I was retracting. I took my fitness model experience and applied it to this stage right here. And the next show, it paid off to what, to get that pro card and do what they wanted. But it was just strictly posing. I was actually in great shape. I love my condition here. And I was just happy to get noticed at 8th.
To your defense now, I mean, again, you were going back a couple of years. There really was nothing set in stone. I mean, it's much like bikini when we first started years ago. There was kind of a general outline. But the girls really are the ones who kind of mixed and made their own little, routines up. And you guys were kind of no different. There was kind of a general format. You're going to do a front pose and a back pose. Well, that's about as open to interpretation as it gets. So you guys literally had to define the class and what the posing kind of, the routine of it would entail. I mean, everybody's got their little, their little things that they do and to kind of make their own little style. But like I say, don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, you guys didn't even have it invented yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sit back and we'll look back over these years at, who defined the sport. They gave us a guideline, and I think the leaders stepped up, took what they gave us, and then made it their own. And this 2 years ago in Chicago, I hadn't gotten that mindset that I needed to make it my own. There's a lot of guys today that I thought looked really good from Texas. I noticed some guys from California and a few guys from the East Coast, Florida, and New York as well, the bigger states. And they looked really good. And, I feel like some of them are still trying to just copy what the pros are doing. And it's those confident guys that are out there. They look the part, and you guys know who you are. They're shredded. Crazy big chest, nice, nice arms, and then a couple of them, still have the calves. I know they don't judge that, but we do look at the lower body a little bit, and I think it's just the confidence thing that what takes these guys to the next level.
Sure. All right. Well, on a side note, Olympia coming up. Joe Weider's 50th anniversary to Olympia, so it's a little bit more special. So the gold anniversary coming up. The question is, can you strike gold, take out the champ? What are you thinking?
Oh, he's going to put me on the spot. I think there's a lot of guys that have potential, and this year, winning the shows that I did, it definitely gave me the confidence to do that. Versus, last year, I think we were all happy to be there, and we were just going to see, who could walk away with it. Mark walked away with it, and I think this year it's going to come down to, about 5 or 6 guys, and I feel like I'm one of the top guys going in.
Is the playing field a little more level this year? I mean, Mark seemed to kind of jump out at everybody initially, and not to take anything away from him because he's a great, worthy champion, of course. But I get the sense that the playing field has been a little bit more level this year. I think he's got a little bit tougher road to hoe, and there's some guys like yourself who I think you're going to have an equal shot to win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, this year I would have liked to have seen Mark compete a little bit more and, shown his condition a little bit more consistent. And, he's got his game plan, and that's, all the people in his corner have got him, primed up for Olympia. My game plan was to do, 4 shows, see how they went, and take that momentum and consistency and go into Olympia. So 3 wins, 1 second place.
Ain't too bad, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining, and it definitely boosted me for Olympia. I feel much more confident going in and trying to take that number 1 spot this year.
All right. Well, looking forward to the Olympia. Of course, I'll be calling the action on stage. So, looking forward to seeing you. Perhaps you'll be in the winner's circle, my friend.
I hope so. And you're the best at what you do. You always fire me up, and I think we all like hearing that voice. So yeah, appreciate everything you do, and I'm definitely looking forward to the O and that all important commentary from Mr. Bob.
All right. Well, very cool, Jay. Appreciate your input, buddy, here at the Junior Nationals. That's going to wrap things up here. Finals coming up tonight at 6 p.m. We'll see who ends up in the winner's circle with the title of 2014 Junior National Champion.